There's no denying that we have had some amazing games released throughout 2022, but in this video, that's not what we're here to talk about. Today, I'm going to be looking at the 5 most disappointing games of 2022. And when I'm saying that these games are disappointing, I'm not saying that these are terrible games, and I still feel like some of the games that I will be mentioning still deserve to be in your collection, but I just feel that some of these games certainly didn't live up to the hype and my personal expectations that I had for them.
All of my nightmares.
Number 5.
With the Nintendo Wii, Nintendo certainly caught lightning in a bottle when they made Wii Sports. They have tried to recapture this magic a few times since and never quite pulled it off. Now, to me, this definitely rings true when you do talk about Nintendo Switch Sports. Like a few other games, Nintendo Switch Sports suffered from a lack of content at launch. It is a fun game when played with others, but to me, it seems like they really wanted people to play this online rather than in the same room with other gamers. Now, while passable, there was also something off with the Joy-Con motion controls as well. This game can be fun, but you will feel like it could be so much better with just a little bit more work.
Number 4.
Now, perhaps the most frustrating thing about Mario Strikers Battle League is that it is a really fine arcade football/soccer game. It feels great to play, it has responsive controls, and if you are playing this with other people, it can be a ton of fun. However, there is a severe lack of content in this game. There is next to nothing to do if you plan on playing this as a single player, plus the roster feels completely lacking in comparison to what we have got in the past games. Nintendo is still supporting the game, so it could turn out great, and there is certainly a lot of potential in this game in the coming months and years potentially. However, we cannot ignore the fact that this game is certainly bare bones, and this to me is certainly one of the games that I was looking forward to being released in 2022 and has kind of a little bit let me down.
Let's go! Yeah! Yahoo!
Number 3.
This time, we'll blow your head off.
Now, if you enjoyed the first Dying Light, chances are you will enjoy Dying Light 2 Stay Human. The game looks great, has a large open world for you to explore, and once again, running from and dealing with zombie hordes can be really thrilling. However, one area where the game really falls flat is the story. To me, it definitely feels very basic, but it is ultimately the terrible voice acting that makes what should be an epic story about survival end up feeling more like a joke. Like other games on this list, Dying Light 2 Stay Human is not a bad game, but from the expectations that I personally placed on this game, I feel like it could have been so much more better.
Kind of information is expensive.
Number 2.
First and foremost, I will state that Gotham Knight, in my humble opinion, is most certainly not a terrible game. It has a decent story, lets you play as 4 characters, and it has some excellent performances from voice actors. However, while the gameplay loop of beating up bad guys, getting loot, and getting stronger can be fun, the game has some issues. To start with, the frame rate is not great and can be all over the place at times. The enemy variety is very lacking. Gotham City may look fantastic, but it kind of does feel empty at times, and the whole game just feels like it needed a little bit longer in development to live up to the potential that this game had. This was certainly one of the games that I was really looking forward to being released in the year 2022, and I wouldn't say that it let me down because I really do feel like it is still a good game, but it just didn't live up to the mark that I kind of placed on this game.
Nothing can stop what's coming.
Number 1.
To me, the Saints Row games were always a ton of fun. Open world games with a crazy story that didn't take themselves too seriously. With the Saints Row reboot, Saints Row 2022, or whatever you want to call it, Deep Silver completely got it wrong in my humble opinion. While there is humor here, it is like they tried to walk a fine line between being silly and serious at the same time. The game design feels very dated, and it ends up feeling like you do the same few missions over and over again. From my perspective, I feel as if it didn't start off on the right right foot, as the game at launch was a buggy mess with many missions having to be restarted over due to some kind of glitch. You do have to wonder if the relaunch has killed the Saints Row franchise forever. Now, keeping it real, I did find some elements of fun playing this game. It's yet again one of those games that's maybe not as terrible as everyone is making out. I know I have kind of shot the game down slightly in my critique here, but that's simply because I was really looking forward to this game. A lot of people didn't like Saints Row 4. I personally really thoroughly enjoyed it because it was a game that I went into with low expectation, and it definitely did exceed those. So I did kind of have a little bit of high hopes for the reboot in Saints Row 2022, and I do feel like there definitely is a few nice little elements of this game, but overall, in terms of the expectations that I placed on this game, it definitely fell a little bit below that mark. Anyway, peeps, that was a run through of the 5 most disappointing games of 2022 for me personally. As I said, these are games that I was really looking forward to the release of when they were announced, so I did kind of set a little bit of high expectations on all of them. Some of these are actually decent games, and with a bit more fine-tuning could have definitely been great games. However, ultimately they ended up leaving us a little bit disappointed and feeling that they could have been so much better. As I've said throughout some of the critique and the reviews of some of these games, I still do feel that if you do find some of these games on sale, it's still worth adding to your collection, because these ain't terrible games, as I've read a lot of reviews that have slayed quite a few of these games on this list. At the same time, for the right price, I do feel like these games still offer up an element of fun. Anyway, peeps, that was just my quick take. Do let me know your thoughts as to whether you found these games to be disappointing, or did you actually thoroughly enjoy any of the games that I've mentioned on this list. As always, if you did enjoy this very quick urban gameplay video, be sure to hit the like button. Do hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so before, and until next video, we definitely say peace out, peeps.
Trustworthy.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more cool urban gameplay videos.
A monster.